Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be looking at some secret fortunes that were meant for Arthur Morgan that Rockstar never wanted us to hear. So I was doing some experimenting with Arthur in the epilogue, and I thought it would be cool if Arthur went and checked out a lot of the point of interest, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Rockstar actually programmed and designed the ability for Arthur to find every single point of interest, including the ones that are in New Austin and in the epilogue area. So I was like, this could be fun. Let me go around and see how many of these things I could find, because Arthur will have unique drawings and he will, write different things than John. And I was actually trying to make my way to McFarland Ranch, and then all of a sudden I was getting shot, and I was like, is there an enemy around? And then I realized that I was getting shot by the invisible snipers that are meant to prevent Arthur's character from going into New Austin. So even though I have used a save editor and some file swapping to allow me to play as Arthur's character model in the epilogue, apparently I am still unable to go to the boundaries of New Austin. So I found that to be kind of frustrating, but I remembered that there is a really cool point of interest right next to Beecher's Hope. It's the circus wagon. We've actually covered the circus wagon in a previous video. We kind of solved what happened to the two-headed girl who joined the circus. And one of the things that's inside the circus wagon is Madame Irene, sort of like this robot fortune teller. And when we went as John, we got some interesting fortunes. For the most part, Madame Irene would just comment on how John needs to eat or get his hair cut. Take a listen to some of these encounters right here.
Closely, for your fortune. Many a wise men stood at the doorstep of the temple with flowing hair. You should cut yours. You have come to the great Madame Irene, seeking your future. Listen closely. You have taken to wine, women, and song too much. Maybe try to eat first. I am consulting the clouds for your fortune. Yes, here it is. A drought is no time to have a draft. Keep your eyes dry and your lips wet with whiskey. I am tired and cannot fathom reaching into the deep recesses of my psychic wisdom. Please, come back another time. Hello, wanderer. I am looking deep into my crystal ball. Yes, here we are. Craving and famine may season the mind, but you would be wise to indulge in a supper, for you will soon lie down and wallow in famishment, which is a terrible way to court a wife. Behold, and hear your fortune from the magnificent Madame Irene. Before you seek to fulfill your soul, try your belly first. It crumbles to a deafening degree. A fortune seeker I shall provide. The hair of the dog gathers briars by midday, then pants in the shade. Wisdom comes with time, and you have inquired too many times. I have reached into the great beyond for your fortune. A penance is admired, but you have elevated it to a level such that you might soon perish. Find sustenance, and you will no longer require wisdom from a machine. I am Madame Irene. Come close and bathe in my wisdom. You would be better seeking substance or supper than seeking savvy from a machine. I have been waiting for you. Here is your fortune. All sunshine delights, then fades into gloom, and you will fall unconscious and unappreciative unless you have created a fire in your soul, and one that can roast a fowl. I am tired and cannot fathom reaching into the deep recesses of my psychic wisdom. Please, come back another time. Closely, for your fortune. You will come to a crossroad, and before you make a decision, eat. You have mistaken clarity for veracity. A meal would serve you better than any sermon. I am consulting the clouds for your fortune. Yes, here it is. You have taken to wine, women, and song too much. Maybe try to eat first. You have come to the great Madame Irene, seeking your future. Listen closely. A chicken and an egg are equal metaphors for your journey. If you are so greedy for knowledge, I suggest visiting a place of learning.
So as you guys heard there, those encounters were pretty bland, nothing all that exciting, but I wanted to see what would happen if Arthur were to get his fortune read. Would he actually get some new fortunes that the game was never supposed to tell us? Would it talk about his fate? Would it talk about things we're supposed to encounter during the story? That's what I wanted to ultimately find out. So it basically works the exact same way. You approach Madame Irene, and this time I actually inspected it as Arthur. He says something a little bit different, and his drawing is a little bit different when he actually approaches the circus wagon itself. You can see it says, found a circus wagon train in a mess and all destroyed. And here's what happens when Arthur actually gets his fortune read by Madame Irene.
I am Madame Irene. Come close and bathe in my wisdom. A crone and a strumpet will give you equal guidance on your journey. Hello, wanderer. I am looking deep into my crystal ball. Yes, here we are. Do not adopt the pace of nature and lie dormant for a winter, then mate and murder before perishing without purpose. Listen closely for your fortune. Flowers are a ray of beauty that shine in the sun, spread their seed in beautiful splendor, and die forgotten. Do not be a flower. You have come to the great Madame Irene, seeking your future. Listen closely. A tree is known by its fruit until it falls and decays, and its fruit only fed scavengers and savages unappreciative of its gifts. Behold, and hear your fortune from the magnificent Madame Irene. Prevail in your kindness and thoughts, for it will redeem you in the end, like finding money in forgotten pants. I am Madame Irene. Come close and bathe in my wisdom. Toil as if money is no object, yet covet and hoard it, and perish so that distant relatives may feud in blood endlessly over it. A fortune seeker I shall provide. The hair of the dog gathers briars by midday, then pants in the shade. I am consulting the clouds for your fortune. Yes, here it is. Your vices gently persuade you into misery. Oh, but please embrace them fervently. Listen closely for your fortune. While you have teeth that bear wisdom, they will only need to be extracted under sedation.
Okay, so those were all of the fortunes that I was able to get for Arthur. I'm sure there's actually a few more, but I was actually having a lot of trouble with this. As I've mentioned in previous videos when using Arthur in the epilogue, the game is not very happy. It's kind of buggy, kind of glitchy. And the same thing would happen here. If I were to go to camp and sleep, which would allow me normally to get more fortunes from her, like the machine would just break. Like she wouldn't give me any more fortunes. So I would have to reload my save in order to get more fortunes from Madame Irene. So it was pretty complex, to say the least. And I imagine that there are a couple more, but there were some interesting things there about, Arthur's fate and about how, the actions that he has done throughout the story will ultimately live on, and some of the gang members that he encountered throughout the story. I also think there was a fortune directly mentioning like the Braithwaite Gray Gold mystery saga that the gang encountered in chapter 3. So I think there's a lot of little references here, and ultimately this is pretty cool. And Rockstar never meant for us to hear these. Well, maybe they did at some point in time. There's always been the rumor and reports, and there's even evidence in game that suggests Arthur was supposed to be able to go to New Austin and the areas in this part of the map. Like, for example, he has specific lines of dialogue for being at McFarland Ranch and for being in Armadillo and for ordering items at the Blackwater Saloon, things that he was never able to do throughout the main story. And if he was supposed to be able to come here, which again is evidence based off of those things I mentioned, the fact that he can write down all the point of interest, it would make sense if he would have been able to have his fortune told too. And this is cool because this is like the only point of interest in New Austin that's actually like interactive. Like all the other ones that you can find, like the Jesuit missionary or the giant whale bones, like, you just find them, that's it. But with this one, you actually interact with Madame Irene. And I found this to be pretty cool that she basically tells Arthur's fortune. And if you guys can feel like you can decrypt or crack those fortunes that she said, feel free to let us know in the comments down below, because I didn't have a great idea on what she was saying, but maybe you guys will. And again, as always, let me know what other experiments you guys would like me to try as Arthur in the epilogue. We've gone through all the main story missions. I've tried to get to some of the point of interest. This is like the only exciting one. But if you have any other ideas, you can let us know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.